Hola amores, and welcome back. And to those who don't know me, I am Maritza, currently a graduate master's student in psychology. And today we're going to be talking about on how you can learn to let go and to finally get over someone. All very respectfully according to psychology and backed by research. I will also be adding the links to the research in the video's description, just in case you want to go and read it through and review it on your own. So let's pay attention and let's get into it right now. For today's video, I will start with a quote in Spanish that goes like this. Un gran error es arruinar el presente recordando un pasado que ya no tiene futuro. And it means there's a big mistake, one which is ruining the present by remembering the past that no longer has a future. Okay? So my loves, why is it that we can logically know somebody who is not right for us, and yet our heart and our brains refuse to let go? Well, today we're looking at the actual science of a heartbreak. We're not just talking about the time healing of our wounds. No, we're talking about the psychological shifts you can make right now to reclaim your peace. All right, my loves, first we have to acknowledge that heartbreak is a form of withdrawal, 100%. Yes, it is. When we are in love or when we like somebody so much, our brains begin to get flooded with dopamine and oxytocin. And when this person leaves us, or when we leave them, or when we realize they're no good for us, or they just don't feel the same, what happens? When all this happens, our brain begins to go into literal cold turkey state. Studies even show that looking at a photo of an ex or of someone who we liked who was not reciprocal to our feelings, or even looking at anything that reminds us constantly of them, will begin to activate the same regions of our brains as physical pain and substance cravings. Imagine that as if we were drug addicts. So to fix this, we have to treat the early stages like a detox. This is why the no contact is extremely effective. Not as a game, but to allow our brain chemistry to stabilize itself without those constant spikes of dopamine from maybe us checking their social media or reading their text or going places where maybe they frequent. No, we need to stop all of that at the beginning. Next, my friends, we need to mention something extremely important, which is called cognitive dissonance and the euphoric recall. Because have you ever noticed that after a breakup or after not having that connection with that one person, what happens? You only seem to remember the good times? Oh my God, this is called the euphoric recall. Why? Our brain begins to filter out all the arguments, the bad moments, all those things that led to your relationship not working out or to your friendship finishing. And what happens? It begins to filter out all of this to what? For the only reason of why it didn't work out, and only to protect you from all this pain. And therefore, it will begin to create what we like to call cognitive dissonance. And I'll tell you what it is. It's something serious. It's a mental discomfort holding two conflicting beliefs. Oh, they were my soulmate. I really liked them. They were nice to me. I love them so much. They would hang out with me sometimes. Versus they treated me poorly, or they cheated on me, or they played with me, or they thought I was stupid, they only used me. You understand? You see those two conflict beliefs that we have in our minds? And to fix this, we need to counteract this by making an evidence list. Begin to what? To write down this every time you felt unheard, disrespected, not seen, lonely, everything bad you experienced when you were with them, write it down. Write it down when you had them in your presence. And my loves, when the nostalgia begins to hit, take the list and begin to read the list. Force your brain to see the real picture, the full picture, and not just the highlighted reel in your mind that they were your soulmates and you liked them so much. Realize things like what? Like they didn't like you, or they mistreated you, or whatever it is, you were not their priority. You understand? Write those things down and read it when nostalgia hits you. And last, my loves, very importantly, I want to talk to you about something called our identity reconstruction. In a long-term relationship, or when we want someone in our lives very badly, then our sense of self often merges with the other person. And when all this idea vanishes, or when they leave you, or when you break up, or when they're just not in your life anymore for whatever reason, then you're not just losing them, You feel like you're losing yourself or a part of you or that idea that you had built up in your mind. And this is known as self-expansion theory. Why? Because we grow through our partners or our expectations of what it could be. And the loss of self is what exactly caused that feelings of emptiness inside of us. And to fix this, now we have to make the time right now for us with the intentional self-expansion, which is what? Please start a hobby, a new hobby. Maybe learn a language, do something you always wanted to do, or re-engage in a goal maybe that you had set aside. Do something for yourself that will give you a real, true meaning. Volunteer, help out, speak to friends, family, outdoor things. And by adding new layers to your identity that have nothing to do with that person, your ex, or that person who's no longer there, then naturally that space, that this person occupied in your life, in your mind, then it will naturally begin to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And just know, my loves, my friends, that healing after a loss is not a straight line. It is a series of daily choices to choose yourself over a past memory that is no longer there. And that is all for today, my loves. Thank you so much for watching. We have reached the end of the video, but I love connecting with all of you through Instagram. Also, go check out the channel's membership just in case you want to show me some support. And go log on to thematchmakingcupid.com just in case you may need one of our matchmaking services. Once again, I am Maritza. Mwah. Till next time, ciao, ciao, my loves. Ciao, ciao, my amores.